This game, huh? As most of you probably know, there was a lot of controversy with the launch of this game. Basically, someone on YouTube got the game early, played the game all the way through, and basically beat it in 5 hours. 5 hours? You gotta be fucking kidding me! The CEO of Ready at Dawn, Rue Wirasuria, let's just call him Rue, claimed that this was false and that the person who beat it in 5 hours sped-run it, and that he's tired of hearing about this. Many didn't know what to think of this since this was before the game actually came out, and now that the game has come out, let me tell you, it's definitely not 5 hours. It's about 7 hours. And I think I'm being nice claiming it's 7 hours. It's probably about 6.5 hours. Not to mention that most of the game is cutscenes! What the fuck?! Oh, I'm sorry, Rue. You're tired of hearing about it, huh? Well, you can cover your ears up, but you can't hide the truth. Yeah, you know what? It's not 5 hours, but it's damn near close. People like this in the game industry piss me off. You make a game and you know it's not up to the right standards, and then instead of admitting that you messed up or even just keeping your mouth shut, you act like the people who are buying your games are wrong. Well, if this pisses you off, it gets worse. As the reviews started coming, most critics were very critical on this game. Well, Rue had to open his big mouth again and state that basically all these critics are being unfair and this is why we should stop sending in review copies to biased critics. Oh my god. Is this guy serious? Okay, I want you guys to stop this video, go to Google, search review roundups of God of War Chains of Olympus, God of War Ghosts of Sparta, and Daxter, and you guys tell me that all these critics are just being biased towards this one company. What a bunch of horse shit. Also, yeah, I bet he would like that, just not sending review copies so nobody would know what kind of game they would be getting. Screw this guy, he is what is wrong with the gaming industry when it comes to shady practices. Anyways, now that my rant is over, let's actually talk about the game, shall we? The story is alright in this game. It has some moments but lacks direction. There really isn't a whole lot of moments in the story where you feel like you even know what you are doing. In fact, why are we fighting the rebels? Who even are the rebels? I could be wrong, but I don't even believe this is addressed. So why am I killing thousands of these guys if I don't even know what they stand for or what they are even doing? I mean, sure, the leader of the rebels show you that they are not doing the wrong thing because you can see that the man the Order supports, Lord Hastings, is bringing vampires into the United States, but there is still no clear reason of why this war between them even exists. Most of the story can be summed up with noticing that there is something wrong with the Council. In fact, the game makes it painfully obvious by mentioning that there is a traitor in the Council. And while it may not be exactly who you think it is at first at the ending, there really is no sense of astonishment. Most of the game's story is basically following Grayson Galahad, a well-respected member of the Order. It's basically a big transition for him throughout the whole story. Basically, the person he respects the most, Sebastian Percival, ends up dying, and this makes Grayson question a lot of the Order's motives in all of this, albeit most likely because Sebastian did. As the story progresses, Grayson gets into a lot of trouble for, as I said before, following the Rebel Queen. He's basically locked away and tortured all his life. Seriously? What the fuck? Like, I get that he is a traitor to the Order, but they are just going to torture him till he dies? That's fucked up. However, Galahad is able to escape. Skipping all the way to the end, you figure out that Alistair is a half-breed. I will admit that this was a bit shocking. However, I knew from the first time we met the Chancellor of the Order that somehow he was going to be tied into this. The reason the Chancellor had kept this secret is because supposedly in one of the battles he fought in a long time ago, he had killed a group of half-breeds. Unfortunately for him, there was one left, and that one was just a child. He couldn't bring himself to kill it, so that's why he kept this a secret and never told anyone. This is a compelling story that does make this interesting, but after this, the ending goes all downhill from there. First off, the Chancellor gives Grayson the gun to put Alistair out of his misery. Grayson questions him and basically said that if he does this though, nothing changes and the Chancellor will be off scot-free, while people will continue to search for him. The reason for this, the Chancellor claims that if this were to get out, the Order would be shook into its core and it would probably be the end of it. So Galahad is like, okay, don't worry about it. Come on. The last part of the gameplay is shooting Alistair. I cannot believe that they went with the Metal Gear Solid 3 ending. Basically cock the gun and then stand there for a while you wait a couple seconds for the R2 prompt to come up. And this is supposed to be the part where you're supposed to be like, I can't do it, I just can't do it, but are forced to do it to move on the game. But there's one huge problem. Nobody gives a shit about this character! We just met this character like probably an hour and a half ago in this game, and all of a sudden we're supposed to feel bad for this character? Look, I get that the story was a bit touching with the Chancellor, but if you expect this to make us think that Alistair is a memorable character, you have no fucking idea how to make a story. And then after this, the game frickin' sequel baits. I can't believe this shit. Now everyone's after Galahad again, and that's basically it. What about Lord Hastings? What happened to him? And what about Izzy? And that's another thing I wanted to mention. Izzy's motives in this game are absurd. When you first start off this game, you can definitely tell that Izzy fancies Galahad. In fact, there is even a part when marriage is mentioned. But after they find that Galahad is supposedly guilty, she's now his worst enemy. It's a fucking joke. At least show us cutscenes of her debating if he is innocent or guilty. Don't try to convince us that all of a sudden she's just some crazy bitch. The story isn't the worst story I've ever played, but it's not anything particularly special either. The presentation in this game is this game's really only thing it has going for it. There's no question that this is probably without a doubt the best looking game of this generation of consoles. And while I do think the graphics look good, I wish they would have lightened them up a bit. It's a bit too dark in this game, and I get that this is the art style they are going for, but sometimes it's a bit too much. The dialogue and voice acting are superb in this game. This is another strong point for the Order. It's well written, and the voice actors are completely believable and do an outstanding job. The lore in this game isn't half bad too. I mean, sure, it's nothing great, but it's interesting at the beginning of the game when you learn how the Order came to be, and basically the way humanity is in this game. The soundtrack in this game is also pretty good. Nothing too memorable, but decent. The presentation in this game is really good. Too bad that's all it has going for it. The gameplay in this game, oh god, let me show you for yourself. Yep, everybody's favorite, QuickTime events. To be honest, I don't hate QuickTime events when games implement them correctly. As long as they do not constantly throw them at you, and they are fair, I don't necessarily hate them. But when a game constantly bombards you with them, it drives me crazy. I get it, there is a long story to this game and they wanted you to play along with it because it would probably end up getting boring since there is so much of it. But all the QuickTime events are not fun or immersive to the game. They are a nagging mother that won't leave you alone. Especially the stealth sections. The other half of the game is a third-person shooter. As if this hasn't been done to death. It does do pretty well when it comes to these sections of the game because there is a lot of variety in certain weapons you get. Don't get me wrong, there aren't too many weapons you can choose from, but there are some new fresh weapons that are actually pretty cool. Another thing when it comes to firefights in this game is the AI. First off, all your team is going to do is fucking sit there and look like they're attacking the enemy when they clearly aren't. It seems like this has become a staple in this genre. Look, I get that they want you to do these sections by yourself, but the fact that they don't let your partners help you at all just makes it feel stupid. I'm not asking for AI to win the battles for me in games, I'm asking them just to help me a little. That would sure be nice. The enemy AI in this game is actually pretty good. They do their job, and if you make stupid mistakes, they will shoot you down. Enemy AI is a little too smart. Yeah, this is completely fair. I don't get the whole shotgun enemy in this game. They take like 1 billion shots and they come after you. And you have nowhere to hide. Like, that's real fair. The firefighting in this game isn't bad. In fact, it's pretty good, but it's not perfect. When it comes to this game's atmosphere, it's not bad. There are a lot of areas in this game that are beautiful, but this game is linear, so there is no way of exploring in this game, which is definitely a bummer. Another thing about this game is there are pretty much no collectibles, or at least ones worth getting. The ones you get are basically voice messages that can't even be played when you are playing the game. Seriously? The only way of playing them is by pausing and looking them up in the menu. That's just stupid. The other thing that counts as completing this game is by looking at pictures or newspapers. I'm not making this up. You seriously just look at them. No way! Give me a break. Is this the best you can come up with? So the little exploration that this game has is not rewarding. There are also sections in the game where you will face a lichen. What is this? What the hell? Wow, such intimidating creatures. And then there's one boss battle in the whole game. What's that? There's two? Oh, I'm sorry, I couldn't tell since they are both the same damn boss! They're recycled. The only difference is some of the QuickTime event sections are a little different. But that just covers up that this is the same exact boss. There is nothing different. If that's not insulting enough, it's the final boss that's the same as the boss before. Like, yeah, that'll create a rewarding ending, fighting the same exact boss you played before in the game. Why the hell would they do this? This is most of the gameplay. While some of it isn't terrible, the rest is bogged down by stupid decisions. This isn't the worst gameplay ever, it's just alright. Overall, I know I tore this game a new one, but I'm sorry, this is just not a good game, at least in my opinion. I don't think this is necessarily a bad game, but it's mediocre, and paying $60 for a game that might not even be worth $30 is just a slap in the face. Look, if you like this game, that's great, but for me, it just wasn't something that I liked, and it just felt really shallow. I'm going to give this game a 5 out of 10. This game isn't the worst game I have ever played, but there could be things they could have done a lot better. Thank you for watching. A like would be appreciated. You know, you don't have to, but it'd sure be nice. Or maybe even a subscription, but, you know, I'll just wait. And even a comment would be nice. Mordecai, so even if you want to make fun of me, you can do that too.
Dude, I don't think you should drink that.